Hi everybody, QM here back with another video. As promised, I was going to make a video on some of the challenges that we dealt with when we were traveling on our past family vacation, which was a little under a month ago, regarding the real ID. Okay, so we left out going to the airport, right? Happy to go on our trip or whatever. And then once we got there and we were going through the TSA line, my daughter said, "Oh my God, I left my ID." I wanted to faint. Like, oh my God, we are right here at the airport. Plane will be leaving shortly. You forgot your ID. And as much as they really made a big deal that we need to have that real ID when we're traveling, oh my God. And we live so super far from the airport, super far. What are we going to do? We didn't know what to expect. So um, she figured, she was like, she had a picture of it in her phone. Maybe that'll work. So, we were in line and it was her turn. And she had her, you know, travel itinerary to show them, but she needed the real ID. And so she was like, I have a picture of it on my phone. Um, would this be okay? And they were like, no, they can't. So if you ever think that, oh, I have a picture of my ID in the phone, and I'm going on a trip, would that work? No. But what they did do, but she did explain to them that she did apply for the real ID. She have the real ID. She just didn't have it in her possession at the time. So they made her step aside, and they had to do a verification. Okay, and that consists of, I mean, they asked her full name, and they asked her a few questions that only she should know the answer to. Okay, um, questions like, what's the name of someone who lives with you? What was this? What was maybe your past address that you had maybe 6 or 7 years ago? As long as you know those answers, or you know how to answer those questions, um, you'll be fine. But even though it's you, and you answer one of those questions wrong because maybe you did forget, they're not going to let you fly. They were very clear with it. The TSA and LAX airport, they were very nice. Thank God, they were very nice. But they did make it clear that if she got um, any of the questions wrong, they wouldn't be able to verify her. You know, so uh, they asked her the questions. She was able to verify. So that worked out. Then next obstacle, my husband ID, he had the real ID as well. Well, he has the real ID as well. It was bent. You know, um, you know how it's in the wallet, and sometimes how you can have cards in a wallet and it bends a little. Well, that's what happened. So when they tried to scan it, it wasn't scanning. So he had to step aside and they had to verify him. That took about maybe a 15-minute process, but his was easy peasy compared to my daughter's. My daughter's, it took about maybe 30 minutes, but they were all trying to get it done though. So the TSA at LAX, they were really nice. They were really helpful. They were trying to get her through. However, it just took a second to get, I guess, the question set up and have someone to um, ask her those questions so that they can do the verification. However, it worked out fine. We were able to travel. Now, on the way back, she had to go through the same thing again. My husband was fine, but she had to go through the same verification again. So she already knew the drill. But this time they really was checking the luggage. I mean, that was the Kona airport in Hawaii. Um, they could have been a little bit more, polite with going through the bags. However, she cleared, but that took maybe another 15 minutes, so Don't let it discourage you if that should happen to you. You have the real ID, but you may have lost it, or you forgot it like she did. You still There's still a possible way that you can still travel. It's just that when they do that verification check, you have to answer the questions correctly. Okay? You have to answer the questions correctly. So take your time. If you go through that and they ask you those questions, don't just quickly answer them if you're not sure of the answer, because you don't get all those choices. I mean, not choices. You don't get all those chances. You know, they're going to ask you a series of questions and you have to answer them correctly, and that's it. Okay? So I'll come back with more information later on in another video. Okay? Love you guys. Bye.